Happy Tuesday. We are back in Colossians chapter 3. Fathers, do not embitter your children or they will become discouraged. Yesterday I said there were two assumptions that this was based on. The first is that the family is profoundly important in shaping children, including their spiritual lives. And the second was that dads had a unique, unearned influence over their children, and they needed to steward it wisely so as not to embitter their children. So, what does this mean? Well, I'm pretty confident that you know what it means. That's not the challenge here. If I were to ask you, what does it mean? What does it mean to embitter your children, or how do you go about being a good dad? I just think that this is not hard. People would say, well, do not, abuse your kids. Do not hurt your kids. Do not ignore them. Don't yell at them. There's a whole bunch of don'ts, and then there's a bunch of do's, right? Do take an interest in your kid. Do keep your promises. Do tell them that you love them. Do figure out who they are and invest in their lives. And if I kept asking, we could add a lot of other qualities and characteristics of good dads or advice. Show up at home, not just physically but emotionally. Don't go home to crash. Go home to lead your family, to serve them and love them well. Take an interest in your children. Listen to where their heart is and figure out how to help them. Make sure they know that you're proud of them and that you love them. And then we could add other things. How do you be a good dad? You love their mother. You set a good example. You pray for them. You visibly love God in front of them. So I'm sure there's a lot of other ideas we could come up with. I don't think that's the challenge. I think the challenge is that we are not always we're not always who we want to be. And so I suspect that, like me, there have been times when you have done this wrong. So I'm going to assume that Paul's counsel here in Colossians chapter 3 is here because we tend to violate it. So again, I certainly have. There are more occasions than I care to remember when Sherry would say to me, might want to rethink that one, or you can't do that. You're too heavy. You're going to crush them. You gotta see things his way, whatever. And I'd have to, count to 10 and calm down and then go and apologize and say, okay, I'm sorry. You know what? That was just, I shouldn't have said that. I handled that poorly. I love you. I'm proud of you. Let's figure out how we are going to move forward together and how you can do better in this area and how I can do better. So I'm going to assume that there's at least one time when you've messed up. If you haven't messed up yet, then this actually isn't for you. But if there's one time that you've messed up, and I'm going to encourage you dads to apologize. And for those times when it's come to mind, I'm going to encourage you to apologize, because we do not want to hurt our kids. We do not want to embitter them. So we are to live with them wisely. Have a good day.